we're going to look at the meat of the paper, and as a broad organiser for this, there are three main elements that you need to consider as you actually write the sections and construct your paragraphs. Now, firstly, analysis is going to be a fairly fundamental thing to incorporate into the paper. So you're going to need to classify those major issues of the study and do a careful analysis of each, and invariably defend your position based on evidence. Similarly, the actual presentation of the statements for the paragraphs, you'll need to supply evidence and correct citation. Invariably, these things work together. And the paragraphs themselves, the actual nuts and bolts sentences, you'll need to have a variety here. Again, not variety for the sake of it, but where appropriate to compare, show process, if necessary, to narrate the history of the subject, show causes, etc. In the next slide, we're going to look at some of the more specific things. Okay, now there's a number of techniques that can build your solid sections and the paragraphs of the body of the paper. And the idea is to be able to weave these together so it creates a very good overall presentation effect. So let's work through some of these. Firstly, you've got to really identify the key areas and ideas that you're going to focus on the paper. If you're going to be looking at the impact of the flipped classroom, well, that's your area. Well, what are you going to look at in the flipped classroom? The design of it, impact on the student learning experience, impact on motivational aspects. So this needs to be made clear. Invariably, there's going to be compare and contrast, perhaps different theoretical perspectives, different experts in the field, how they frame the area of study, and this is going to come from the literature review, and it's going to involve inevitably an analysis of key issues and you making explicit your frame, where you're coming from in looking at this area. The research design is always a key section, so you need to explain this. Are you taking a particular perspective? What methods are you using? What's the reason for the methods? Provide the context of the design itself. And invariably, the results need to be presented in clear graphical form, make relevant comparisons with previous literature references, and make an interpretation relating to the research question and area. So this is where you pull together your main conclusions, recommendations, etc. And if you're going to be using illustrations, which ones to use, where to put them in the text, or do you put them in the appendix? Finally, some techniques of emphasis. Just as we do oral presentations, we think about what we want to emphasize, key terms, key concepts, key ideas, and we might change the tone of our voice, etc. The same thing applies in the paper, because there might be many things, but some you feel are more pertinent and you want to get these aspects of the paper across because you feel they're particularly strong. So some key techniques is invariably the length that you give to different parts of the paper, those that you spend more time on, you'll give greater coverage. The use of main headings, the order, positioning, this gives a sense of emphasis in the structure, and relating to certain writers in the field that you feel are particularly significant in relation to the research that you're doing, and the types of figures, changing typography that you might want to use, but use this sparingly. So think about this one. What do you want to emphasize? It may well be the findings, it may be the methodology which you feel is particularly novel or strong, or the findings with a strong, key, important, practical recommendation.